difference. Hey guys, so this is my new 1999 Dodge Ram 2500 turbo diesel. It's a Cummins 24 valve. They're really good engines. People got a lot of good things to say about these. They're damn near bulletproof. They had the 12 valve and the 24 valve. 12 valve's a little bit better. It comes with the P pump, which is a mechanical injection pump, versus this one's got electric driven injector pump. And the one nice thing about the electrical one is that you can get tuners for these and everything else, and it's a lot easier to tune on the fly if you want to program it on the fly, and you can kind of adjust things and that kind of thing. So just a quick overview of the truck. I got this. I traded that skid steer that I had. I fixed it up. I showed a lot of them videos of me fixing that up, and once I got it to where I felt it was worthy for sale, I put it up for sale, and I also put I would trade for a diesel pickup truck. So I had it up there for maybe 2-3 days. I had some offers. One guy told me he'd come out with $9 grand cash, and that was good. I was going to go do that. And then I found this truck here. The guy offered me a straight up trade. I believe the value of this is probably worth around 10 grand. It's from Arizona. It's super clean. The bottom of the chassis looks like the day it rolled off the assembly line. And that's hard to find up here in New York, where I live. It's already been oil coated. All the maintenance has been done to it religiously. The engine oil looks like brand new. The transmission fluid is super clean. The diffs have just been flushed. The tranny was just flushed. I mean, the guy was very religious with his maintenance. The guy who originally owned it, he was like 80 years old, and then he died, and this other guy bought it. So he was the second owner, and that's who I got it from. And the guy who bought it, who was the second owner, he was like a 65-year-old guy, and he was very good on doing maintenance and stuff. He took very, very good care of this thing, and he only had it for about a year before he decided to trade it for my skid steer. So I got a really good deal on this thing. I'm real happy with it. And if you want to know how much I had in that skid steer, I had about $3,500 into it. I probably put about $300 into it with maintenance, filters, just going over it, cleaning it up, painting it. I added some vinyl to the cab, which I got another video. I gotta edit that and get it up so you guys can see that video. I did a couple other things to it that are on video that I just haven't had time to edit yet because I've been so busy. But so I had probably $3,800 into it, $3,900 into it when I traded it for this. So to get a truck like this for $3,900, I think that's a smoking deal. It's got 240,000 miles, which most of you guys know that's nothing for a truck like this, especially if it's been taken care of. All the front end parts have been replaced on this truck. Everything's super tight. It's like brand new. It really is. It drives so nice, so smooth. It's got a brand new steering dampener, newer shocks on it. It's got all brand new rear stabilizer links. It's got new ball joints, new tie rods. I mean, you name it, it's been done. The paint, obviously, it's seen better days, but when you're out in Arizona in the sun, I mean, this is what happens to paint. It starts to blister and it starts to peel and it starts to fade. So that's what happened to this truck here, but I don't really care. This is just going to be a work truck for me, and a damn good work truck it's going to be for me. So I'll take you a walk around here. It's got the running boards on it, which is nice. Bumper's in real nice shape. The chrome's in real nice shape. I put my hitch in it. I got to get rid of the old Jeep. Trailer plug works. It does come with the brake controller, which is great because I plan on doing a lot of hauling with this. The tailgate's in the worst shape out of everything. Just the top of this is beat up. The guy used it as a work truck, obviously. I did get a new tailgate with it, or a used tailgate with it. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use that yet, or if I'm just going to take that top plastic piece off and lay it up here and then take the handle out and put it in here, because it's missing the plastic piece here. So I'm not sure if I want to do that yet, or if I'm just going to throw this tailgate on it. I don't like that it's blue, so I would have to paint it. So I'll probably just use the pieces out of that one to make this one. But this does open. It does open and close just fine. So I got to get that out of here today. I got to get that spare tire. The guy The guy took it down just to make sure everything worked on it, and I just got to put it back up. He never put it back up, but he says it does work. Yeah, so it's pretty clean. Pretty nice truck. I got to get the tow mirrors. Definitely want tow mirrors on this. Them are way too small. Let's see if you're towing trailers. Oh, it's got brand new tires on it. I mean, they're brand spanking new. They didn't even have dirt on them yet. Rims are in real nice shape, no pitting. I mean, they look like brand new. The frame, as you can see, the frame, it's all black. There's no crustiness on it. There's no nothing. Everything is really clean. Now, this is oil coated, so you see oil in here. It's all from it being undercoated just recently. So even the front links are newer on this. The coil springs still got the black paint on them. I mean, it's just so clean. I love it. So I'm gonna keep this thing oiled because I'm obviously up here in New York and I'm gonna be driving it through the winter. So I'm gonna keep it undercoated really well, and it should last me a long time. I just got to make sure I get up under the wheel wells and up under the fenders and in the door jambs and all them normal spots that rust on these. But yeah, so let me pop the hood for you guys. Here's the interior. Interior is not too bad. This has got a little rip in the seat here, which I don't care about. I could stitch this back up, just sew this here. You know, I could sew that back together. I don't really care. You got to remember, it's just going to be a work truck. A little bit of tear here. The rest of it's in pretty good shape. It's dusty because it was in Arizona, so they have a lot of dust out there, like sandy dust. So I got to detail the whole interior, but once I detail it and sew this up, the rest of it's in pretty good shape. Back doors, all the doors open great. As you can see, the jambs are in perfect shape. You can see that there's no rust, no rot. I mean, they're solid. I mean, look how clean the door jambs are. Back seat's in nice shape. Floor is in nice shape. I got nice floor mats in here that it came with. So I'm real happy with the interior. I'll pop the hood and I'll show you guys under the hood. Okay, so under the hood, you can see a 24 valve Cummins. Very clean. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos on these trucks lately, just trying to learn about these trucks as I normally do. Like I say, whenever I get a new piece of equipment, new vehicle, new anything, I like to try to do research about it. I want to learn about it. I want to learn, you know, its quirks and what it likes, what it doesn't like, the common problems, that kind of thing. So I've been doing a lot of research on these lately, watching a lot of YouTube videos. And frankly, I rarely see one that's this clean. I see a lot of them with oil leaks all over the place and, you know, valve cover gaskets and that kind of thing. And this is just, I mean, it's just immaculate under here. There is no oil leaks anywhere. The only oil residue at all is from the undercoat. Turbo is in beautiful shape. Look at the wastegate. The wastegate looks like brand new. You can see the original tags on everything. I mean, even the intake header is, I mean, there's no rust on that either. The exhaust manifold, there's not even any rust on that. You know, it's just very clean truck. It's got two newer batteries. They're not brand new, but they're newer. Nice matching batteries, not mismatched or anything. So yeah, that's under the hood, real clean. So today what I want to do to this truck is, being that it's just going to be a work truck, I don't want to do a whole lot to it. You know, it's not going to be a race truck or anything like that. So all I want to do is give it a little bit more power, open this thing up a little bit, and just basically get a little bit more power out of it for towing, and just open this engine up a little bit because they have it so choked down from the factory with this intake and everything on it. So I've been looking up for some cheap mods to do. And basically what I'm pretty much going to do to this thing is I'm going to throw a different intake on this just to get it opened up, different filter, which I have with me. I just bought a filter from Napa. I'll get the part number for you guys. Off like a cat excavator, and obviously they run Cummins engines in a lot of them, and this is what that air filter is for. They say it's a beast. It lets in a ton of air, and it lasts like 30,000 miles. It's kind of pricey, but I got mine with a discount, so I only paid like 37 bucks, 40 bucks for mine. So that's going to go and replace this factory air box. So all this is going to get ripped out today, and I'm going to put that filter in. So that'll open up the intake, and then what I want to do is get a 4-inch or 5-inch, probably a 4-inch though, turbo back exhaust with no muffler. And that'll open it up a little bit, so it'll have more intake, more exhaust. You get air in, you get air out, so that's good. And then the last thing I want to do is get a performance chip for it, or a programmer as they call it. Those run around, I don't know, around 350 bucks. Sometimes you could find them, give or take. If you get them used, you could find them for even better prices. So figure around 350 bucks, which isn't bad. And that'll unlock, you know, a lot more horsepower and a lot more torque. So between the intake, the exhaust, and the programmer, I think I'll be all set. I'll have plenty of power. I don't want to put too much power down because these transmissions really can't handle it unless you build them. So I don't want to abuse it too much, as it's just going to be a work truck. So anyway, let's get going on that intake. I also got a serpentine belt for it. As you can see, the original one, it's in pretty rough shape. It's older. It is squeaking, as you probably heard when I pulled up. I mean, look at even the front of the engine. There's no oil leaks or nothing. There's no residue. I mean, it's clean. So anyway, I want to put a new serpentine belt on it because it is squeaking. So, when I get the serpentine belt off, I'm going to obviously spin all the pulleys, just make sure everything's free, make sure the tensioner is good, and just make sure all the bearings are good in the pulleys. So, new serpentine belt, which I already picked up, new air filter, getting rid of that air box, put that in, put the belt in, and then I'd like to get that spare tire up. I'd like to get the spare tire out of the bed, put some grease on that cable, and get that worked back up so that that's out of the way. I'm gonna get this tailgate out. I got these crates in here that I got to get in the shed. These are a bunch of old tools that I have laying around that were actually, when I was a mechanic, there are a lot of specialty tools like tap and die sets, compression testers, leak down testers. That's what those boxes are full of. So I want to get them in the shed. My brother's been hanging on to them for me because I didn't have any room. But now that I have the shed up here and have like a little garage, they're all going to get put on a shelf. So I picked them up today so I can get them put away. These brake rotors, I think the guy had these back here for some weight. Not really sure why. I don't think you really need much weight back here. So I'm just going to get rid of these. That'll clean it up a little bit. Okay guys, so I think I'm going to do the serpentine belt first, and then I'll put the air filter in. High flow air filter, whatever you want to call it. A couple things I wanted to mention that I didn't mention before. Like I said, the older 12 valve Cummins, they had a P pump set up, and that was a mechanical pump. These are now ran electronically, VP 44. So one thing you got to watch on these trucks, which everybody pretty much knows this, but I might as well just repeat it. The lift pumps are very weak in these trucks, and they don't put out enough pressure, and anything below like 5 pounds could burn up your VP 44, which is your injection pump. If you burn it up, it's like $1,000 to $1,500, sometimes more. So you don't want to burn that up. So it's very important to check your fuel pressure regularly and make sure that it's up to par. And if it's not, swap out that lift pump and go with something better. There's like I think a V-Dog pump, and then there's forget all the different names. There's a couple companies out there that are making aftermarket lift pumps, and they do a really good job of keeping high pressure. And when I go to put my computer in, the programmer, I will definitely make sure that I have enough fuel pressure so that I'm not burning that up. So I just wanted to mention that in case people start saying, oh, well, you got to make sure, blah, blah, blah. Did you check this? I actually am going to my friend's house tomorrow where he's got a fuel pressure gauge. I had one, but I sold it because I'm not a mechanic anymore for a living. So I'm going to use this fuel pressure gauge, and I'm going to pop it on here and see where I'm at. I know that the guy did replace this pump with an aftermarket. Not sure which type. I got to get under the truck and figure out which kind he replaced it with. It is the in-tank pump. I do know that much because I see the block-off plate where the standard pump would go on the side of the block. So it is the in-tank pump, which I'm assuming it's just a regular Carter pump, which it wouldn't be very good. But he said he just replaced it. So basically what I'm going to do is check the pressure, see where it's at, see what pump it is exactly, and kind of go from there. But I definitely got to get that figured out before I can get a programmer for it because, like I said, you don't want to run your fuel pressure too low, and there's no point in increasing your fuel to make more power if you don't have a lift pump that's worthy enough of getting the fuel up to your injector pump. So I just wanted to say that. So that is something that I will be doing very, very soon. Pretty much immediately, we'll be checking out that lift pump. And if it's not good enough, I will be upgrading it and then eventually getting the programmer. Because like I said, just an intake, exhaust, programmer, and obviously a good enough lift pump. That's pretty much all I'm going to do. Add some more fuel, crank the boost up a little bit. They sell these little boost elbows. I'll probably just make my own little manual boost controller. You would just throw that where the wastegate actuator is, where it goes to the turbo. There's a vacuum line. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's a vacuum line right here. You can just cut that in half, and you could pretty much just put in any kind of manual boost controller, and you could put it wherever. I'll probably mount it up somewhere up here. That way I could easily get to it, and then you just turn it in or out to increase your boost. And obviously I won't be doing that either until I get the programmer, because I'm going to be relying on the programmer for all my gauges. Because with a diesel, you want to make sure you keep a keen eye on your exhaust temperatures, because if it gets too hot, you could basically melt down the motor. Another thing you want to keep an eye on, obviously, is your boost. So you make sure you're not over boosting the engine for more than it can handle. And you want to obviously watch your fuel pressure, as I just mentioned. You know, you don't want to burn up your injection pump. So there's some things that you want to watch, some parameters that you want to be keeping an eye on. So luckily, the programmer that I want to get, the Quadzilla, will be able to give me all them gauges without having to have an ugly pillar hanging off the side inside my cab, because I don't want that. I just want everything on the screen where I can select what gauges I want and see everything right there. So I think that's the best route, and that's the route I'm going to go. So anyway, it's starting to get dark out. Let's get this Serpentine belt in, this new one, and let's get the air filter in. Hopefully my camera doesn't die. So it's a 1/2-inch drive. Okay. Let's try to take a mental picture in my head of how this belt went on. Doesn't look very hard to figure out, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay, once you get the belt off all the pulleys, you gotta bring it on the inside of the fan to be able to get it out as it goes around the water pump. So just work it around the fan blades. And there you go. So now I'm gonna check each pulley, because there was a squeak, and I believe it was the belt. Alternator's good. Nice and smooth. Idler's nice and smooth. Check the water pump. Water pump's nice and smooth. Nice and quiet. Check the AC compressor. Bottom left. Nice and smooth, nice and tight. Okay, so we're all set. So it was just the belt. The belt's got some little cracks in it. It's definitely dried up, probably from the Arizona heat. So now I'll get my new belt out and I'll measure it and make sure it's the same as this one, and then I'll throw it in. Man, this thing's really kinked up. Okay, belt's the same. It was only maybe 23 bucks. One other thing you want to check is the rib count. You want to make sure that the belts are the same thickness and width, and you want to make sure they have the same rib count. First thing you got to do again is get it back on the water pump. So go around the fan. Okay, it's around the water pump. Now I got to get it around the crank. Probably better off going underneath to do that. Okay, it's around the crank. Now you just got to try to keep tension up on it. Alright, so now I got to figure out how this went back on. From the crank, I believe it goes up and around the idler. From my mental picture, around the alternator, underneath the idler, all right. Just around that. There. And then around the tensioner. I don't know. I can't remember. I do this all the time. I try to take a mental picture and I think I could remember it. And then you screw something up every time. Let me look it up on my phone real quick. got the belt on there. I got it on every single pulley except for the idler, okay? So then I'm gonna do the idler last when I pull on the tensioner. It took me a minute to figure it out. Remember how it was. Definitely was easy to do, that's for sure. Now that I did it once. Definitely done a lot worse, that's for sure. All right, it's on there. And what you want to do is double check. I'm gonna grab a light and double check everything. Oh. Okay, my alternator's good, nice and centered. Water pump is good. Idler's good. Okay, I'm glad I checked it. My AC compressor came off just a little bit. Just gotta work that the rest of the way on there. That's why you always want to check it afterwards. Okay. AC compressor's good, alternator's good, idler's good, water pump is good, crank is good. And I'm just gonna get on the bottom side just to double check, just to make sure it's all the way on. Oh. Okay, we're good. Okay, I'm gonna fire it up just to make sure, and then we'll put that air filter on. Camera fell down. All right. Oh. New Serpentine belt is on, and as you guys can see, the squeak is gone, which is good. Anytime you hear a belt squeaking, you could bet something's slipping, and whether it's your alternator or your AC compressor or something is slipping, so it's just always good to get that fixed. Not to mention, it just sounds bad. You know, these Cummins engines sound so good. I hate to ruin that good sound with any other type of noise that shouldn't be there. So, that's done. And just to point out, if you guys ever put a Serpentine belt on and you have it around every single pulley, and you don't have to release the tensioner, odds are you got it on wrong. So Serpentine belt is done. Let's get putting on that air filter. Okay guys, so the filter I'm going to put on this is Napa Gold. I believe it's made by Wix. It's part number 2790. This is what everybody on the forums recommends putting on this instead of the stock air cleaner. You see one hell of an air filter. Look at that beast. Now, it's hard to believe that this thing, really the camera doesn't even do it justice. You can see how big around it is. This thing's like 12 inches wide and over 12 inches long. Supposedly this does fit under the hood, which is why I'm doing it. I saw some pictures online and read some forums, and this is what everyone's using. It's got awesome airflow abilities. The turbo will be able to build boost at a lot lower RPM, which is a great thing because that'll keep the exhaust gas temperatures down. It'll also give you a little bit more low-end torque, and, you know, faster spooling turbo is always a better thing. So it's got your typical, it's got a 4-inch inlet, so that'll go right onto the stock intake pipe coming off of the turbo. So what I'll be doing is I'll be removing the air box, removing the old air filter, and putting on the current stock intake tube to this air filter and laying it in the engine bay. So that's what I'm going to do next, and then I just want to get the spare tire up before it gets dark out. Not sure if we'll have enough time, but we'll find out. Loosen up that clamp. Break that loose. Well, this thing, I believe, is just on rubber mounts. Should just pop out of here. Get this out of the way. Get this out of the way. Get the stock air filter out. Wasn't in too bad a shape. Like I said, that guy was really good doing maintenance on this. Get that out of the way. I can see it's actually bolted in. A lot of times these just have grommets. I'm surprised. Actually pretty loose. Okay. There's one left. They were so loose I could just turn them out by finger. There we go. Okay, so this is where the intake air, this is where the clean air comes from. It's from the inside of the wheel well. Okay, it comes through this boot and it goes into the air box. So it comes through the boot, through the fender, through the boot, and into the air box, and that's how it supplies the air. It's just a lot of restriction, so you get this out of the way, and it'll really open up the turbo. The easier that thing can suck, the faster it's going to build boost. So now this should show you how big this thing actually is. This thing is just a monster, man. Okay, so them are just studs. This thing is a beast. Okay, and this will slide right onto this, which is why people use it. Like I say, this filter is originally, I believe, built for a cat excavator that runs a Cummins engine. So these air filters are heavy duty. They're made for very dirty environments, and they'll last a long time. So like I said, it's a little expensive. Most people are telling me these are like $80. Some are like 120. Depends on where you get it. Depends what kind of discounts you got. But luckily I got discounts. And I know the guys down at Napa pretty well, and they hooked me up. So 35 bucks or 38 bucks, something like that I paid. Okay. Snug this down. I don't want to go too tight because this is just, that flange is just rubber and it's not super stiff. So if you go too tight, you're just going to crush it. And that's it. And that just lays like that. So eventually what I'm going to do, yeah, that's good. So eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a shield here, a metal shield that'll slide down in this. And basically that'll block the heat coming from the exhaust manifold on a turbo from getting into the filter. So that way it's sucking all cold air. So if I build a shield from here to here, just out of some tin or some sheet metal would work. I'll just build a little shield here, and then that way this thing is getting all cold air. And as you can see, this hood is just gonna fit. So let's try that now and make sure it does. They say this fits, so. All right. Okay, so the last thing I wanna do, it's getting pretty dark out here. I gotta clean up some stuff. I gotta get these crates in the shed just in case tonight the weather changes. I'm gonna do that, and then if I got light, I'll get you guys back out here with me. I'm gonna put the camera on a charger, and we'll see if we can get that spare tire that's back here, back underneath the bed where it belongs. Oh. Ooh, them crates are cold. All right, well, it's getting pretty dark out. I don't think I'm gonna try to put that spare tire on tonight. Back up underneath the cab there. I'll do that tomorrow. I should be going to my buddy's garage tomorrow, so I'll record more there. We're gonna undercoat it again, just to make sure it doesn't rust this year. I got some of this crown stuff. Everybody swears by this stuff, this crown rust protection. It's a rust inhibitor, and it actually supposedly it absorbs itself into the metal and protects against rust and corrosion. So I'm gonna get some more of this stuff. He's got some more at the shop, and he's also got this other pro grade frame oil undercoat. So we're gonna spray everything real good with it, and then I'll get the spare tire up. I'll probably do that there, and we're just gonna kind of go over it real quick while it's up on the lift in a nice warm shop, so I'm not freezing. So I'll record some more when I get there tomorrow, but for tonight this is enough. It's getting dark, so let's go for a ride and try out that new air filter and that new Serpentine belt. Alright, well, we're obviously not looking for humongous power gains from an air filter, but people really say that you really do feel the difference. So let's just let it warm up a little bit and drive it around a little bit before I give it any kind of load. To be honest, it already feels like it's a little peppier down low, which is what I was trying to get rid of, is it seemed like it was kind of being a little sluggish down low. There was a guy, believe it or not, that actually did like a performance difference. There's like a $350 K&N air filter kit for this cold air intake. It's like over $300 for this kit. And he had that on his truck, and then it got dirty or something, and he put on the exact same filter I just put on, with the stock intake pipe, and just put it on that, just like I did. And he said he actually had 0 power loss, the exact same amount of performance, the exact same amount of power. He said, if anything, he said it seemed a little bit better. So what he ended up doing was he sold his K&N setup. So I thought that was pretty funny. A $300 air intake. I mean, obviously it looks better, but who cares about looks? This is a work truck anyway. It's not a show truck. So for, between $35 and $100 for the filter, especially if you get a good deal on it like I did, for that kind of performance increase of a $350 intake, I think that's well worth it. No doubt about it. And either way, it's definitely a lot better than stock. And 30,000 miles out of an air filter, that's quite a while. There's also a secondary boot that I forgot to tell you guys about. It's like a filter sock, and it's kind of like a primary filter, or secondary filter, I should say, and it goes around the outside perimeter of the filter, and it's like a mesh, and it just helps to keep the filter clean. So you basically would pull that sock off and blow it out, clean it. I think some of them you could even wash them, and then you'd put it back on the filter. So I'll probably get that sock. I think the excavators and stuff run that sock, so I'll probably end up getting that just to get a little bit more life out of this filter that I just installed. So, oh wow, holy crap, man. That's a huge difference. Wow, I've never even heard the turbo that loud ever on this truck. I mean, it was like instant. I'm not sure if you guys heard it, but I barely even got into it. That was like quarter throttle. I just can't believe how, I mean, I know how restricted those stock intake boxes are, but it's just amazing that a filter like this could just instantly make it that much better. All right, let me turn around here. Good old Napa Auto Parts. This is where I got it from. We'll spin around and we'll go back to the house now that we got everything warmed up. I'll get on it a little bit. It's definitely better. I could definitely tell a difference. Wow. Wow, dude. That's impressive. Very impressive. Wow. Definitely can hear a difference. Definitely can feel a difference. Wow. That filter lets in a lot of air. There's no doubt about that. This guy just blinded me with his freaking high beams. There is no doubt about it, man. I'm stoked. And no more squeaking from that damn serpentine belt. Wow. I cannot believe the difference. That thing is awesome. That is the best 38 bucks I ever spent. Well, I'd say that was a success. If you liked what you've seen here on my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll definitely have more mods and upgrades coming to my new Cummins truck. Like I said, just little stuff. Don't expect nothing big, at least right now. I'm just trying to get it to run a little better, get a little bit more free power out of it. Cheap power, I should say. So I'll definitely keep you guys tuned in, and anything I do to this truck, I'll be posting on my channel, just like I did with the skid steer when I bought that. So we'll do that and go from there. Wow. Okay, guys, on that note, we'll catch you in the next one.